And I just wanted to mention before we have the committee reports that I think we should be a little patient with ourselves. This is new to all of us, and I know that we're just feeling our way, and we are up and moving, and so I think that I'm just understanding that it is new. So let's start with Janice and the Mobilize Neighborhood Action Working Group.
Has everybody signed in, by the way? We just want to keep track of who's here.
So. I don't think it's been on the head table. Hello?
Speaking of signing in, we're with Janice. Here are some, for these working groups, if any of you are not on a working group, if you want to be on one, we'll put this back at the back table. Or no, we'll pass them around. And there's 3 of them. Yes.
Okay, this is Mobilizing Neighborhood Action. And I'm Janice Runbeck. I'm coordinator of this working group. And I think we have just Steve Navarro and José and myself and Heather representing us here. Oh, you're on the group too? Yeah, great. And Sandra Solomon. We had 2 meetings. The first one was November 16th, and we had everyone there. The second meeting was Sandra and Steve and I. But we've been only a short time to work on this. But we've, as a group, decided proposing to have launch a neighborhood ownership campaign, kind of what we call it. And a quote that I heard recently sort of embodies this. Having a safe, clean, and healthy neighborhood is not a right, but a responsibility. And with this in mind, we're proposing a campaign that aims to involve all stakeholders, and even some that you might not think of. Residents and their children, businesses, nonprofits, churches, schools, neighborhood and homeowner associations, city officials, police officers, and even homeless people. The idea is to, everybody takes responsibility for what's wrong and then try to fix it. So that's the concept. We want to develop strategies for increasing involvement, participation, and test them on a strong neighborhoods area. We want to come up with criteria, and we thought what could be included is a strong neighborhoods area that has difficulty in recruiting and retaining NAC members. That might be any of them right now. Struggle to get attendance at meetings or events. Doesn't have a neighborhood in crisis. We were thinking we take one of the areas that where the focus is not on a neighborhood in crisis, because they will have extra support from strong neighborhoods. And then, diverse demographics, and maybe one that has language barriers that we can try to cut through. So that's sort of the concept. And then Phil's going to talk about some of the possible strategies that we've talked about so far. And again, it's a work in progress, and we really want your feedback and your ideas, and tell us what you think, sort of where we're going.
I am Phil Hood with Belmas Park. We identified 4 areas of strategies that you might try to use to mobilize your neighborhood and engage your neighborhood. And so I'm going to go, and those 4 are building partnerships, engaging the neighbors, training, and communication. And I'm going to go through some of the ideas that came up because we would like quick victories too. And we don't want to boil the ocean. We would like to find a neighborhood to work in and try some and to test some strategies that would increase the overall level of neighborhood engagement and mobilization, and so that this would be repeatable in other neighborhoods. So for building partnerships, that really meant reaching out to all the stakeholders in the neighborhood, all the kinds of stakeholders that Janice talked about, and impress upon them their ownership of the neighborhood. And we'll talk about that a little bit in neighborhood engagement. Also, we thought we could invite look to people who mobilize in other areas, whether they are Greenpeace mobilizers working the farmers market or whoever, and learn from other people who are involved in different kinds of mobilization. For neighborhood engagement, what we said is that neighborhoods need to create an army of block captains or ambassadors who are responsible for mobilizing and keeping information flowing. That there needs to be a connection between neighborhood events, which are social, and neighborhood improvement projects, which are transformative. That we could look into using businesses or other groups as sponsors, or actually going out to sponsors who want to work with particular neighborhoods, particularly those who are in the neighborhood or adjacent to the neighborhood. And then one of the challenges, particularly in neighborhoods with high numbers of renters, language barriers, or just low participation rates for whatever reason, I felt that a lot of people don't even know they're in a neighborhood. I know there are people who don't know they live in Delmas Park neighborhood or a Market Avenue neighborhood. So exploring signs and other methods that would increase awareness of the fact that the neighborhood has an identity and it has specific boundaries. So that's neighborhood engagement. Then training, we wanted to look at what training residents might need within the neighborhoods, look for different training opportunities through United Neighborhoods, NLI, and other groups, and see if there were particular kinds of training that could be scheduled in the test neighborhood. Then continue to collect best practices and problem-solving methods for training. Communications, we don't have any defined strategies yet, and it's just an area that we haven't gotten to thinking through how best to tackle.
Other than neighborhood.
But, right, other than neighborhood. But those four areas, building partnerships with business institutions, schools, apartment buildings, any groups or any groups of individuals in the neighborhood, and working with other mobilizers. If anybody has any feedback about that and how we might go about it. Yes.
Phil, what you said, you're looking for a CNAC or somebody or a group that's really not there to test the model, that's not in the neighborhood of crisis yet but doing.
Right.
I'd like to step up and volunteer our CNAC because we fit everything you just said. And that's the Burbank Del Monte.
Burbank Del Monte.
Excellent.
Yeah. Represents over 16,000 households, a lot of renters, a lot of language problems.
My question would be, is Burbank Del Monte too big as a test bed? But otherwise, it's perfect.
No one else steps up, we'll volunteer.
Yeah, right. No.
And is it
Any
willing?
others?
I could step up. Yeah, I just had my last NAP meeting. I had 4 people show up, where we used to have 20. Without the money.
And you had 20, 30 people when you had capital improvements and city staff
when we had money.
Yeah.
As soon as the money goes right.
A couple of comments. I think that the comment in terms of your communication plan.
Yeah, but could you stand up? I can't hear
The
you.
comment that you made regarding that you haven't really figured out the communication plan. It sounds like you have, because when you're talking about working with different communities, when you're developing the communication plan, you're looking at those things. You're looking at your neighborhood. You're looking at city council. You're looking at government, state, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that if you go back and you look at that, the communication plan is kind of included
Yeah,
that
it's kind of
there.
through
Yeah,
the
and then the second comment that I want to make is that I disagree with having communities that are not in, what was the definition that you used?
Crisis.
In crisis. Because when you have communities that are in crisis, those are communities that are like underserved,
Yeah.
completely underserved. But wait, I'm not done, sir. So when you do have, let's say you have another community that's not in that state, they're still they still have a little bit more cushioning than that other community. So, you know, I just kind of disagree with that.
Okay, so you're saying an area that has a neighborhood crisis, that neighborhood in crisis will get extra attention from
Well, I
staff
just
and
think
resources,
that
but the rest of maybe the rest of the area.
I just think that the neighborhoods in crisis, there's a reason why they're in crisis. And you know, we hear a lot of talk about what's going to happen to neighborhoods in crisis, but it's talk right now. We haven't seen any substance, you know, that's happening in neighborhoods in crisis. So I guess that's my point in terms of, you know, let's not exclude neighborhoods that are in crisis, because, you know, you look at the economy right now. Alma Neighborhood Association and INAP is a perfect example. You know, I don't want to go on soapbox with that, so I'll just leave it alone. But, you know, it's an ideal candidate.
Actually, can I just ask a question? So basically, my understanding is you're looking for an area to serve as kind of a pilot for what the CNAC can do and to be effective.
That's right.
Okay. So what you're looking for, and you're getting some suggestions of a group that would be willing to work with you or to accept your help. Because, see, that's the other thing, Deborah, we haven't met Hiram Jones, is that you actually have to have buy-in from whatever neighborhood group you're going to work with. And until we build up the neighborhoods that are in crisis, that have people that want to step up, it'd be very difficult to get buy-in from the residents. Whereas if you have somebody from Michael's or Harvey's group that already saying, we can use your help, we would welcome you, come on in, I think the CNAC would be a lot more effective.
That was kind of our idea, not the neighborhoods in crisis right now will be the focus of attention of strong neighborhoods. And what we've heard from other areas is that, okay, what about us? And some NACs are afraid, okay, we're not a neighborhood crisis, but we don't want to be one. You know, we don't want to go back to where we were, you know, 10 years ago. Just some concern about that, so we thought maybe helping one that needs more.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah. I'm just giving. It's just only my opinion.
Yeah, I know.
My opinion is, you know,
and like Joe said, that how Strong Neighborhoods is working with those neighborhoods is still being developed, I think, and so.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good example. I mean, it's just we'll just stop. What is your next meeting?
We haven't said it yet. Nobody. Yeah, we haven't.
Yeah. Okay. I was just thinking that we would encourage people who have this to come.
Yeah.
We will.
Michelle, I've got the question, neighborhoods that, for lack of a better word, we need to use it, that appear to be apathetic. Oftentimes it's because they're attempting to get services and they either on the phone forever or they attempt to do something and nothing really happens. A couple programs that just come to mind right away, like the Blockbuster program. It's not really what people are looking for it to accomplish for them. So going out to neighborhoods and telling them, you know, you're going to need their help to create change, rather than just, you know, sit together, discuss, you know, problems on it. Maybe going after like a Blockbuster program and catering into to the specific neighborhood. Every neighborhood has their specific life, as well as you know, right off the bat, people don't know who to call. They don't know what numbers to give. You have specific numbers. You can be on hold for an hour. And for somebody that works the system, okay, you have a little bit of patience, a lot of patience. But for somebody just coming into it, that'll frustrate them from ever getting away. So maybe another point that you could take is not making informational pamphlets that go out to this neighborhood, not only with telephone numbers, but contact people. A choice of 3 contact people, so if they can't get one, they get another. That way it's more personable and it actually feels like something's going to happen.
Yes, our neighborhood could use your help to send to neighborhoods. But I'd like to suggest that these neighborhoods that would help within these sites, which may probably have possibilities, but some might be too big for the first time pilot program, and some might be way too small. But any visit of these neighborhoods, they can share this visit.
I had a couple of suggestions on the communication issue. I personally have tried it for the past couple of months. It seems to have been increasing our attendance. I'm come from Middlebury, West Michigan, so it's basically 85% Hispanic, and you have food for them, and they will show up. You know, but so what I thought about was, you know, to be creative is collecting emails. So you have a way of now where the 28,000 area, or you know, 2010, 2011, there's got to be someone in each block that has an email. You know, and so kind of make that nomination to have that person as a block captain, because if you could send emails, have them printed or so, and then they could distribute it within that block. So that kind of, you know, started getting the concept of posting up signs, you know, and removing them, because it's like the garage sales, you know, we post up signs, but then we don't remove them, so that, you know, removing them within the time frame. Getting involved with the schools. I myself very active with the school as my kids go, but you know, becoming aware of the parents that are there in the meeting. The school is going to have the most updated telephone number for that family, whether it be a cell number, whether it be a grandma's number, whether it be, you know, there's a lot of people that are disconnecting their phone lines from the house, going into a cell phone system. But you know, if you keep that up, then you'll have contact with somebody then. And hire the parent contact information, which is that, and then use it for recruiting. You know, when they have events